Hello fellow bin raiders and a very Merry Christmas to you. This Christmas I decided it'd be fun to collaborate with a few people, so I've asked a few friends of mine and some very talented content creators to share what they believe is their favourite or an important indie game in their life. The reason why I love indie gaming so very much is that it's a showcase of what these smaller developers and sometimes even individuals, it shows us what they can do without being held back by big companies or publishers. For instance, I'm going to be talking about a game later on and it's not Undertale. I'm not giving you another Undertale video. It is my favourite indie game of all time, but I'm going to talk to you about a game that really means something to me and actually got me into the world of indie gaming. All these guys are exceptionally talented. I've linked all of their stuff in the description down below, so if you really enjoy what they've got to say, go check out their channels, go watch a few of their videos, subscribe if you really do enjoy their stuff. It would mean the world to them as it would mean the world to me. So that's basically everything. Merry Christmas guys, and enjoy.
Derp here from Worth It Dudes. So my all-time favourite indie game is actually a mod from a classic game, and that game is Doom from the 90s, and the mod I'm talking about is Brutal Doom. I've been playing Doom since it came out back on the PC in '93, and always played each update it gets from Doom 95 all the way to the source code of GZ Doom, which allows for some crazy mod action. And Brutal Doom is just sure one hell of a crazy mod that has changed up the classic Doom for the better. So much so that even the new Doom from 2016 took a fair bit of inspiration from it. Brutal Doom has turned into something very special with weapon reloading, new weapon handling and old firing modes, new weapons, and the chainsaws is just so freaking, oh my god, it's just so good. Shitload of blood and gore with tons of new animations as well. It's just bloody brutal, hence the name. I play Brutal Doom like every day. It's the perfect stress reliever for when you've had a hard day. You just need to let off some steam. Some people go to the gym, others go to the pub. Me, I just shoot the shit out of everything in Brutal Doom, and that's perfect stress reliever for me. I've been playing Brutal Doom for about 5 years or so. I even made a little video on my old YouTube channels and on how much I loved it. And the creator of the mod just keeps bringing new updates and features. And the latest update is version 21. Brings more craziness, more guns, more gore, more fixes and features. Basically more of everything. Basically, even multiplayer with bot support now. It's freaking never ending. On top of that, the modder even made a whole new campaign for Brutal Doom called Hell of Earth Starter Pack, which is like an alternate Doom 2, Doom just refuses to die because of the endless mods still being made for it. The game is over 20 years old and still being modded. How many games can you really think of that's still being played, that's over 20 years old? Last year's Doom, it's a wicked game. It's one of my favourites from 2016, but, I don't play it anymore after I completed it on the hardest difficulty. Yeah, it has got Snap Map where you can make your own mods and maps and whatnot, but it's nowhere near as good as the level editor and mod freedom you have on the classic Doom. People still play the old Doom because of modding. How many people are really going to be playing 2016's Doom next year? Probably not very many. Playing Brutal Doom, is like a totally new and refreshing experience for me. So many new features, yet still keeping that classic feel to a game of what made it amazing. Just pick up and shoot shit till it's no more. Simple. What more could you ask for? It's why Brutal Doom is one of my favourite indie games ever. And it's free. If you own the original Doom. But if you don't own the original Doom, what the hell? You're doing something wrong. Everyone needs to own the original Doom games. It's something I totally recommend as well. Brutal Doom.
Hey Alex, or should I say Mr. Bin? So yeah, for my pick in today's video I want to talk about a game which is gorgeous, unique, clever and charming. Numa: Breath of Life. This game was developed by Deco Digital and Bevel Studios, who would later on go to form the studio Bulkhead Interactive, which created the equally brilliant puzzle game, The Turing Test, a year later. Numa is a first-person puzzle game where the majority of mechanics and puzzles are solved using vision and line-of-sight interaction with the surrounding environment. The protagonist is a British person who seems to think he's a god, I guess? Wow, Alex. What is it with us in games with British voice acting narrators? He kinda rambles on sometimes, and I get the fact this element of the game put a lot of people off from playing it, but I don't mind it. At least it's not like Gone Home or something as boring where there's no actual gameplay to space out the boring dialogue. This game is split into 6 main levels and some additional bonus puzzles strewn throughout the story, What I love about the game is it tempts the player to question the protagonist's role in the world, as it's ambiguous for the majority of the game. He seems to have massive power over the world around him by controlling matter and puzzles seemingly from thought, but there's always unresolved threads of questions which tempt the player to question both the world's reality and protagonist's role in it. And just look at this game, it's beautiful. The Greek architect with the gold and red regal decal just makes it stunning to look at. The marbled floors, the picturesque gardens and villas, it's just pure eye candy. Plus of course the puzzles start out really simple and slowly become more devious, especially on level 6. Let me give you an example. Near the end of the game you come across a locked door with a bunch of mismatched tiles outside. It's obvious the tiles are the key to opening the door, but it's kinda hard to tell what to do until it clicks in your head. You have to use the HUD's periphery to click the tiles on and off to solve the puzzle. So essentially you need to keep your eyes on the tiles you've changed, whilst looking away from the mismatched ones in order to make all of them the same. Bloody genius. So yeah, Numa Breath of Life is a really neat game which you can complete in an afternoon, which will tickle your puzzle sensibilities and feed your retinas with its lush visuals. And I like it.
Greetings from Germany, everybody. This is Defender833, and yeah, today I want to talk about my favorite indie game, and that is Oxygen Not Included. Oxygen Not Included is a base building game where you have to watch your oxygen. Who would have guessed? Yeah. Okay, so let's just jump into it, right? So we have these duplicants, which are kind of clones of each other, but they have different traits, and you may recognize the system from like something like RimWorld or another type game where you can choose your characters and like build up on them, so they have positive and negative traits. And yeah, we just skip ahead a bit and just let them dig out some stuff, so we can gather materials, which is pretty fine, so we can build stuff. And as you can see, we have a rather large map, and we have to explore a little bit and just build up our base, try to maintain it, try to get like somewhat of a stable system that provides oxygen, that provides food, that keeps our duplicants healthy and alive. And yeah, I think that's the main plot of the game. And without further ado, I will just show you a bit of the gameplay and you can judge yourself. So right now we're just building up the living quarters for our colony, which is, I just looked it up, we need to have like 12 tiles in a room to make it a bedroom. So I'm just like planning out these rooms far ahead and try to make them. The problem is we have carbon dioxide sinking to the bottom of the base, so we kind of have to get rid of it. And I already planned a move to accomplish that, but that takes some research, and I would say we'll take a look at the research in just a second. Now that our research station is done, we can have a look at the skill tree, or the research tree, or whatever. Just plopping down some batteries, so we have at least somewhat of a power storage. So yeah, I'm going for the basic farming stuff, so we can provide our colony with food. And yeah, I think that's pretty much all for now. I'm just rearranging some job issues, so that my highest skilled people are trying to do the jobs they prefer, I guess, or do the jobs they are best at, so we get the most efficient way of getting stuff done. After having finished the basic farming and some basic decorative stuff, like for example the lamps, I'm planning out the farming area of our colony. It's a temporary farming area, and yeah, the lights help the lamps to grow, but you'll see in a bit that we have another slight problem with this layout, and just let me put down some planter boxes and we're good to go. Now that we have enough pressure in our farm, we need to think of a way to store the food we produce, so we make this bottomless pit, which has a bottom, which is weird. Don't think about it. So we have this one hole gap, so the gases don't exchange so much. And the basic idea behind it is that there gathers CO2 in this little hole in the ground and creates a sterile environment so our food doesn't rot. And yeah, pretty much a little bit down further, we have a little water geyser, which provides the colony with fresh water. It's still hot, so we have to do a little bit of research to cool the stuff down, but I think it's going to be fine. So that's, guys, how you create and maintain a little colony in Oxygen Not Included. I hope you enjoyed it, and leave a like for IndieBin. Thanks for having me, dude, and we see you in next year.
Indie gaming is awesome, and it's gaining traction at an unbelievable pace. They grow more sophisticated and intricate with each year, and their ambition is growing as expectations of a healthy audience grows with it. Over the years, indie games have excelled because their developers take risks that the major publishers are not willing to, diversifying genre within their games and exploring interesting and sometimes controversial themes are two regular traits that garner the best results. Amnesia: The Dark Descent is a horror game that challenges you to consider both you, the player, and the character's element of fear. Super Meat Boy seems like a difficult platformer, but it does an excellent job of improving your personal skills rather than just handing you new character abilities. And FTL Faster Than Light is a quality roguelike that puts your runs in jeopardy if you play too conservatively. My favourite indie game is one that embodies all of these concepts, blending roguelike with tough but rewarding gameplay and themes of family, sacrifice, religion, and even the 7 deadly sins. Of course, I'm talking about The Binding of Isaac and The Binding of Isaac Rebirth. It's rare that a game themed as contentiously as Isaac can provide a package that's not only full of addictive splendour, but also offers a huge amount of variety and value. The sheer amount of items to unlock and experiment with over both games is astounding even at base game level, and the games do a great job at rewarding players for being genuinely brave. It's also very flavourful. Many items are relevant to Isaac's mother and her religious beliefs, and the monsters and bosses are of the monsters under the bed or hidden in the wardrobe types, suitable for Isaac's psyche. They're horrible creatures, but all offer unique tropes and strategies. Enemies are designed to look like a mixture of Lovecraftian monsters and something that fell out of your nose, but that's what makes them so frightening to look at. They have a mean streak too. While the series is nothing special in its foundations of roguelike games, what it gets absolutely perfect is its difficulty curve. The game is unmistakably difficult, but it's one that's kind to those playing their first few runs and tough on veteran players. You never feel like the game has played unfairly to you or too generously, with skill being the deciding factor in your run progression. It may take 20 hours for you to take Mum down for the first time, but you know that you're learning something new on each venture, whether that be an enemy attack or moving pattern, understanding a new weapon, the special items, trinkets and tarot cards that will offer you the best assistance in each run, and where the secrets are hiding. It's a game that benefits from frequent and regular playthroughs. There's neat touches everywhere too, such as Isaac's form mutating on every power-up, making for some fascinating combinations. Its ability to strike a perfect risk versus reward balance is top-notch. It looks great for a game originally designed by hand in Flash, with excellent soundtracks, and most importantly, the game is great fun. Ducking and weaving makes for exhilarating combat, and there's a genuine sense of accomplishment on every run that you manage to slay Mum's black heart or beat down the devil. Both games are excellent, though Rebirth is now probably the de facto choice. I prefer the original for the music score from Danny Baranowski, with its stunning mix of eerie melodies and high-tempo thrashing, and in spite of a few flaws and bugs, The Binding of Isaac and Rebirth really are some of the best roguelike indies to hit Steam. Buy Rebirth and consider its expansions, and you're sure to be in for a treat. Or a poop.
If I were here to talk about the first indie game I ever played, it'd have to be Bastion. If I were here to talk about my favourite indie game, it'd have to be Undertale. But I decided that instead of dedicating another video on this channel to Undertale, I'd talk about one of the first indie games that left a lasting impact on me. Thomas Was Alone is a narrative-driven indie puzzle game from Mike Bithell. It follows the story of several rogue AIs given sentience on a mysterious computer mainframe, the first of which being Thomas. The use of coloured shapes to represent the AI means everything can stay minimalistic and pleasingly geometric. Thomas Was Alone is not out to challenge you, and it's certainly not looking to weigh you down with an overbaked plot. Instead, Thomas Was Alone is contemplative and enjoyable, or at least as much as you want it to be. Some of you will simply enjoy the clever puzzles and coloured bricks hopping about like gnats on a lake. Others will find Thomas Was Alone tells a story of companionship and curiosity, of several personalities combining their skills to overcome obstacles. Its core theme is companionship, and it's actually quite heart-wrenching when you begin to somehow endear yourself to what is basically a red rectangle. We're guided through the story by English funny man Danny Wallace, whose quirky mannerisms and pre-Wheatley British delivery is a joy no matter what way the story shifts. His narration is powerful and emotive, a masterclass on how you convey a story of Tetris bricks falling in love and selflessly sacrificing themselves for the fate of the world. At this point you must think me mad, but this is exactly what indie gaming is all about. If you took an idea like this to Activision or EA, you'd be laughed out the executive boardroom faster than they can insert another pointless microtransaction system into a full price game release. Indie games aren't about massive companies sat on gold stockpiles paid for with pre-release bonuses and endless cosmetic DLC. They're made by real people who want to bring their ideas to life, not developers that are stifled by publishers' whims. To share a story, to craft an experience, or just to plain entertain us. Alright, not all of them are, but the ones mentioned here by me and my friends show what dedication indie developers can put into their craft. To summarise almost pessimistically, Thomas Was Alone could be on the chopping block as a victim of art as gaming. I mean, the puzzles are simple and the graphics are as basic as you can manage, but can a video game really be held up by a wondrous story alone? It's too subjective for me to say. Thomas Was Alone tackles friendship, it tackles loneliness, hope, sacrifice and courage, and it does so with grace and perfect execution, and it's a prime example of why I love the world of indie gaming.